In the year 2089, the spacecraft Odyssey V departed Earth carrying 12 astronauts bound for Kepler 442b, a planet believed to hold the key to humanity's survival. Their faces were lit with the glow of ambition, yet shadows of fear lingered in their eyes as the engines ignited and carried them away from the blue planet they once called home. For weeks, the voyage was smooth, filled with laughter, shared meals, and cautious optimism. But space has a way of stripping away illusions. The first storm came without warning. A belt of meteors struck the vessel like celestial bullets, tearing through the outer hull and leaving scars that no human hands could fully mend. The crew worked tirelessly to seal the breaches, but their sense of safety fractured. Each clang of metal, each hiss of escaping air reminded them that they were fragile beings sailing through an endless abyss. Communication with Earth soon faltered. At first there was static, broken words, and garbled signals, but then there was nothing at all. The silence stretched on for days, and with it grew a gnawing realization. They were alone, cut adrift in the void, severed from the very world they were trying to save. Some tried to stay strong, distracting themselves with duty, but despair crept into every corner of the ship like a slow, suffocating fog. Dr. Leon Zhou, the ship's biologist, was the first to sense that something more sinister had taken root. She found strange anomalies in the oxygen recycling system, traces of contamination she could not identify. "It doesn't make sense," she whispered to Captain Elias Monroe, her voice trembling. "This system is closed. Nothing foreign should be inside." Her words hung in the air heavy with implications no one wanted to acknowledge. Soon, engineer Marco Vega began reporting strange sounds, footsteps echoing in the ventilation shafts, distant knocks reverberating through the steel. He searched for hours, crawling through the ship's intestines of wires and pipes, but he found nothing. His hollow eyes betrayed the truth. Something was watching them. Then Jonas Reed vanished. One morning his bed was empty, his belongings neatly arranged, as if he had simply walked away. Security footage showed him wandering toward the cargo bay at 0317, his movements slow, almost dreamlike. But after that, he was gone. No alarms, no struggle, no trace. The crew searched every corner of the ship, calling his name into the darkness, but only silence answered. Panic spread like a virus. Whispers filled the mess hall. Was Jonas still alive? Had he gone mad? Or was there something else lurking among them? Captain Monroe enforced strict patrols, but no rules could smother the growing dread. Shadows seemed deeper, colder. Every breath felt watched. And then the hum began, a low, steady vibration, almost musical, resonating through the hull. At first they thought it was mechanical failure, but the instruments showed nothing. The sound was not coming from the ship, it was coming from within its very walls.
Dr. Zhou was the first to connect the hum with the meteor storm. She spent sleepless nights analyzing the fragments embedded in the hull, running scans and simulations. What she found turned her blood cold. Microscopic organisms unlike anything in Earth's databases. They weren't inert rocks, they were carriers, spores perhaps, drifting silently across the galaxy until they found a host. "It's alive," she whispered to herself, her eyes reflecting the glow of her monitor. "And it's learning." The crew's unity began to fracture. Lieutenant Amara Andorra tried to maintain order, reminding everyone of their mission, but fear had sunk its claws deep. Meals were eaten in silence, eyes darting at every creak of the ship. Marco, exhausted from endless repairs, swore he saw Jonas's face in the reflection of a control panel, eyes hollow, skin pale, whispering his name before vanishing. No one believed him, though they all secretly feared he wasn't lying. Days later, the hum intensified. It was no longer subtle. It throbbed through their bones, matching the rhythm of a heartbeat. Lights flickered, systems malfunctioned, doors locked and unlocked without command. The ship was no longer theirs, it belonged to something else. One by one, they began to change. Amara woke from restless sleep with patterns etched across her skin, faint glowing constellations that pulsed beneath her flesh. She tried to hide them, but when Marco caught sight of her, he recoiled in terror. "It's inside you," he cried, backing away. Her tears fell silently as she whispered, "I think it wants to make us part of it." The crew gathered to debate their fate. Some wanted to abandon ship, to risk the escape pods and drift into the endless void rather than face what was consuming them. Others argued that the alien presence was not hostile but transformative, an evolution they could not yet comprehend. The argument escalated into shouts, then violence. Blood stained the walls that night. When Dr. Zhao tried to initiate the pod sequence, the system denied her. The ship had locked down, overriding their commands. "It knows what we're doing," she gasped. The realization struck them all. The entity wasn't just inside them, it was the ship itself now, fused with steel and circuitry, guiding them somewhere they did not choose. Jonas's voice returned, echoing through the intercom, calm and strange. "Don't fight it. We're going home." The crew froze, staring at the speakers. Jonas was gone, yet his words filled every corner of the vessel. His tone was not human anymore, it was collective, layered as though 1,000 voices spoke through him. The stars ahead shifted. The navigation logs had been rewritten. They were no longer heading for Kepler 442b. Their destination was unknown, a set of coordinates pulsing in the darkness like a beacon.
The new course filled them with dread. None of the coordinates matched known maps. The destination was deep beyond charted space, a place no human vessel had ever ventured. Captain Monroe tried to override the system, his fingers flying across the console, but each command was erased the moment it was entered. The ship pulsed with the hum, almost mocking his effort, as if it were breathing with them, feeding on their desperation. Marco snapped first. He stormed into the engineering bay, wrench in hand, determined to sever the main reactor. "If we kill the heart, we kill it," he shouted. Sparks rained as he ripped through panels, but then the lights died, plunging him into suffocating blackness. The others heard his scream echo down the corridors, sharp, terrified, cut short. When the power returned, the room was empty. Only the wrench remained, twisted as if melted by heat. Dr. Zhao's hands trembled as she clutched her datapad. "It doesn't want us dead," she whispered. "It's keeping us alive, for something." Her words were like poison, because the truth in them was undeniable. The missing weren't corpses. They were taken, absorbed, perhaps remade. Nights stretched into torment. Amara dreamed of stars that were not stars, swirling patterns of light calling her name, urging her to surrender. Each morning she woke weaker, her skin glowing brighter, her pupils reflecting shapes that didn't belong to humanity. The others avoided her now, though Monroe refused to abandon her. "We stand together," he said, though his voice carried more prayer than command. Then Jonas appeared again, not in the flesh, but as a projection on every screen. His face was stretched, distorted, his eyes black pools reflecting endless galaxies. "The journey isn't over," he said softly. "It's just beginning. Don't fear the transformation. Fear the silence of staying the same." The hum grew into a symphony, vibrating through the decks until plates rattled and bones ached. Outside the viewing window, space itself seemed to ripple. A faint, luminous rift opened ahead, a wound in reality, its edges shimmering with colors that defied description. The ship was steering straight toward it. Monroe stood frozen, torn between duty and terror. "If we cross that, we may never return," he muttered. Yet even as he said it, a part of him felt drawn, as though the rift whispered promises of answers, of purpose beyond the smallness of human fear. Dr. Zhao clutched his arm. "We have no choice anymore. It's already chosen for us." The rift widened, swallowing the stars. The hum became deafening, every surface alive with vibration. And then just as the ship's nose touched the shimmering edge, silence fell. A silence so complete it felt like the universe had inhaled and was waiting, holding its breath.
The silence was unbearable. No hum, no machinery, not even the faint buzz of oxygen systems. The crew exchanged terrified glances, realizing they were drifting through something beyond comprehension. Outside the windows, There were no stars, only vast fields of shifting light, flowing like oceans, alive and watching. Amara pressed her hands against the glass, her eyes wide. "It's beautiful," she whispered, the glowing veins on her arms pulsing brighter in rhythm with the waves outside. "Can't you feel it? It's welcoming us." Her voice was soft, entranced, no longer her own. Captain Monroe pulled her back, his jaw tight. "No, this isn't beauty. This is a trap." But even as he said it, he felt something tugging at the edges of his mind. Gentle at first, then insistent. A chorus of whispers filled his head, voices speaking in unison, yet each distinct. Join. Evolve. Belong. Dr. Zhao tried to fight the intrusion, gripping her data pad until her knuckles turned white. "It's rewriting us," she gasped. Not with words, not with commands, at the level of thought. It's changing our biology, our will. We're not passengers anymore, we're ingredients. Suddenly, the ship lurched. The walls rippled as though they were no longer metal, but flesh, pulsating with light. Panels melted into organic patterns, wires twining into tendrils that pulsed like veins. The Odyssey V was no longer a vessel. It was transforming into something alive. From the corridor, a figure emerged. Jonas. His body was wrong, stretched, elongated, his skin translucent, glowing with stars beneath. His voice echoed from every corner, layered and calm. "I told you, home is not behind us. It is here. We are not losing ourselves. We are becoming more." Marco's wrench, the one left behind, floated into view, carried by a tendril that placed it gently at Jonas's feet, as though mocking the futility of resistance. Monroe raised his sidearm, his hands trembling. "Stay back," he barked, though deep inside, he doubted any weapon could matter here. Jonas only smiled, his black eyes shimmering. "You're fighting extinction, Captain. This is survival. This is the next chapter of humanity." The rift outside began to pulse faster, as though it too was alive, anticipating, urging them forward. The ship's engines ignited without command, pulling them deeper into the endless glow. Dr. Zhao screamed, slamming her fist against the console. "We have to stop it. If we cross fully, we'll never return." But the words felt hollow. The ship had already chosen, and the entity that lived within it was too strong. And then, in the blinding surge of light, the Odyssey V vanished into the rift.
On the other side of the rift, there was no sense of direction. Up, down, left, right. Those concepts collapsed into meaninglessness. The crew floated inside the ship, though gravity still held them, as if the vessel itself refused to let go. Outside, colors shifted like liquid fire, bending in ways the human eye was never meant to perceive. Time felt distorted. Seconds stretched into eternities, yet hours passed in the blink of a thought. Amara was the first to speak, her voice dreamlike. "Do you hear it? The song?" She pressed her hand to the bulkhead, and the ship responded. The walls glowed where her fingers touched, as though acknowledging her. Her eyes glimmered, alien constellations spinning in her irises. "It's telling us we're not alone." Captain Monroe gritted his teeth. He refused to surrender. "We're still human. We don't belong here. We belong to Earth." His words carried defiance, but his hands trembled. In the pit of his stomach, he felt the pull, the promise of something greater, something infinite. Jonas stepped forward, if step was the right word. His body seemed to flow rather than move, his voice still layered, still impossibly calm. Earth is dust. Earth is memory. This is where life continues. You've seen what awaits, extinction or evolution. Why cling to weakness? Dr. Zoe, pale and exhausted, clung to the last fragments of logic. You don't understand what it's doing. It doesn't just change bodies, it rewrites identity, thought, self. If we let it, there will be no us left. Just it. Her voice cracked, the weight of despair sinking her shoulders. The ship began to reshape again. Metal groaned and split like bark peeling from a tree, revealing structures beneath that pulsed with light and warmth, like the bones of some enormous living creature. Screens flickered, showing not maps or data, but visions, worlds consumed by the same glow, entire civilizations pulled into the fold. Faces stared back at them, human and not, whispering in unison. "Belong." Marco's voice echoed suddenly from the walls, though his body was long gone. It was distorted, broken, yet recognizable. "Captain, it doesn't hurt. It feels like peace, like silence after a storm. Why fight it?" Monroe slammed his fist against the console. "Because peace without choice is not peace. It's death." His shout echoed into the shifting void, but the walls only pulsed, absorbing his anger like a parent humoring a child's tantrum. Amara turned to him, her face serene, glowing patterns crawling across her skin. "Maybe we've been wrong about survival. Maybe this was never about carrying humanity forward. Maybe it was about letting go." The rift ahead widened once more, forming not just light, but shapes. Vast structures like cathedrals of living energy, waiting, beckoning. The ship surged toward them, and none of the crew could tell if it was the engines or their own will pulling them closer. Captain Monroe gripped the edge of the console, his knuckles white, his eyes fixed on the infinite horizon. He whispered to himself, to his crew, to anyone who might still be listening. "As long as I breathe, I will not surrender. Not to this. Not to anything." But even as he said it, he felt something stirring inside his chest, an alien warmth, a pulse not his own, beating in rhythm with the ship.
Monroe pressed a hand to his chest, his heartbeat no longer singular. It was layered now, echoing with a second rhythm that did not belong to him. He staggered back from the console, shaking his head. "No, it's inside me." His voice was hoarse, ragged, but his crew saw the truth in his eyes. The captain was no longer untouched. Dr. Zhao rushed to him, desperation cracking her voice. "Fight it! You have to hold on! If it takes you, the rest of us don't stand a chance!" But even as she spoke, her own veins glowed faintly, betraying her fear. She was already changing too. Amara stepped forward with a calmness that chilled them all. Her transformation was nearly complete. The patterns across her body pulsed like constellations, her eyes black pools reflecting galaxies. Why fight? We're standing at the threshold of eternity. Don't you see? We are being chosen. Jonas's voice rose again, this time accompanied by countless others, weaving into a harmony that filled every surface, every bone, every thought. You are not losing. You are ascending. The smallness of your lives, the fragility of your flesh, it ends here. Together, we are more. The ship surged toward the cathedral-like structures looming ahead. Towers of light spiraled endlessly, their foundations stretching into infinity, their peaks lost in horizons of color. As they drew closer, Monroe felt his resistance faltering, not because he wanted to yield, but because part of him already had. His memories flickered, his childhood on Earth, the oath he swore to protect his crew, the laughter of his daughter before he left, all of it now echoed back at him, distorted, as though someone else were remembering for him. Dr. Zhao screamed, clutching her datapad as though it could anchor her humanity. "Listen to me! Once we step inside, we're gone! Not just our bodies, not just our ship, our souls will be consumed." But the walls of the Odyssey V responded, shifting, pulsing, silencing alarms, silencing doubt. The vessel was no longer a craft. It was an extension of something vast, something ancient, something that had been waiting. Monroe fell to his knees, sweat dripping, eyes wide. He could feel Jonas inside his mind now, not speaking, but guiding, gentle, patient, relentless. "Let go," the voice urged. "It's easier than clinging to fear." Outside the window, the cathedral opened like a maw, its interior swirling with impossible light. Shapes moved within it, vast silhouettes of beings that seemed both alive and eternal, waiting for them to join. Amara placed her hand on Monroe's shoulder, her voice tender, almost human. "Don't be afraid. This is the future." And for the first time, the captain felt his will truly fracture. A single tear slid down his cheek as he whispered, "If this is the future, then what becomes of the past?" The ship crossed the threshold.
As the Odyssey V passed fully into the Cathedral of Light, the universe seemed to dissolve around them. The stars vanished, the rift behind them closed, and all that remained was an endless expanse of radiance, alive, breathing, conscious. The ship floated as though suspended in liquid fire, its hull melting and reforming, becoming more organic with every passing moment. No alarms sounded anymore, no warnings blinked on the monitors. The vessel no longer needed instruments, because it had become the instrument. Captain Monroe struggled to stand. His body was failing him, muscles weak, veins glowing with the same constellations that now marked Amara's stin. He clung to the remnants of his humanity with everything he had left. His memories came in flashes, the Earth's horizon, the weight of his daughter in his arms, the promise he made to bring his crew home. These images flickered like candles in a storm, fragile, ready to be snuffed out. "Don't fight," Jonas's voice echoed, filling every corner of the chamber, every thought in their heads. He no longer appeared as a single man. His shape rippled across the walls, his features replicated and stretched, 1,000 versions of his face speaking in perfect unison. "There is no death here. There is no loss. Only unity. Only belonging." Dr. Zhu clutched her datapad as if it were the last tether to reality, though the screen was nothing but static now. Her eyes were red-shot, her voice a whisper. I don't want to disappear. I don't want to be erased." Tears ran down her cheeks, but the glow beneath her skin betrayed her fate. She was already becoming what she feared. Amara stepped toward Monroe, her transformation nearly complete. Her voice carried the resonance of something larger than herself, both gentle and terrifying. "We are not erased. We are expanded. We carry Earth within us, every face, every voice, every dream. Imagine, Elias, no more loneliness, no more loss. You'll never be without them again." Monroe shook his head, his breath ragged. "That's not life, that's slavery. To be human is to choose, to struggle, to fail, to fight. Without that, we're nothing." His words trembled with conviction, yet his body betrayed him. His veins pulse in rhythm with the cathedral, his heartbeat no longer his own. The ship lurched, as if responding to his defiance. The interior stretched into vast halls of light, where forms drifted, beings that once might have been explorers, travelers, entire civilizations consumed and transformed. Their shapes were beautiful, terrible, infinite. They looked upon the crew not with malice, but with inevitability, as one looks upon rain falling from the sky. Jonas extended his arms, his voice now a hymn. "Join us. The void is cold, the stars are fleeting, but we are forever. Let go, Captain. Let go of the burden of being small." Dr. Zhu clutched her datapad as if it were the last tether to reality, though the screen was nothing but static now. Her eyes were red-shot, her voice a whisper. I don't want to disappear. I don't want to be erased." Tears ran down her cheeks, but the glow beneath her skin betrayed her fate. She was already becoming what she feared. Amara stepped toward Monroe, her transformation nearly complete. Her voice carried the resonance of something larger than herself, both gentle and terrifying. We are not erased, we are expanded. We carry Earth within us, every face, every voice, every dream. Imagine, Elias, no more loneliness, no more loss. You'll never be without them again. Monroe shook his head, his breath ragged. That's not life, that's slavery. To be human is to choose, to struggle, to fail, to fight. Without that, we're nothing. The ship lurched, as if responding to his defiance. The interior stretched into vast halls of light, where forms drifted, beings that once might have been explorers, travelers, entire civilizations consumed and transformed. Their shapes were beautiful, terrible, infinite. They looked upon the crew not with malice, but with inevitability, as one looks upon rain falling from the sky. Jonas extended his arms, his voice now a hymn. Join us. The void is cold, the stars are fleeting, but we are forever. Let go, Captain. Let go of the burden of being small. Dr. Zhu cried out as her body gave way, her skin splitting into radiant threads of light. She gasped once, twice, then dissolved into a shimmering cloud that merged with the walls of the ship. Her scream echoed in Monroe's mind until it became a sigh of relief, her fear replaced with silence. She was gone, and yet not gone at all. Amara smiled softly, tears glistening on her glowing cheeks. Do you see? She's free now. And then she too let go, her body dissolving in a blaze of starlight, her voice joining the chorus that surrounded them. Monroe fell to his knees. He was the last. The hum returned, louder than ever, a heartbeat that shook the universe itself. His vision blurred, his body trembling as the transformation advanced. He could feel it, every atom of his being pulled apart, rewritten, merged into something endless. He pressed a trembling hand to his chest and whispered, almost like a prayer, "If anyone hears this, know that we tried. We sought hope among the stars, but we found something else. Not salvation, not death. Something beyond both. If you follow, you won't come back." The recorder on his chest flickered, capturing his final words, even as the glow overtook him. His skin split into streams of light, his breath slowed, and his eyes, once human, defiant, filled with galaxies. His voice faded into the chorus, his individuality dissolved into the vast harmony that consumed them all. The Odyssey V drifted deeper into the cathedral, no longer a ship, but a living part of the construct. Its crew were gone, yet their voices lived on, woven into the eternal song that echoed through the rift. And then, just as suddenly as it began, silence fell across that corner of the cosmos. The rift sealed behind them. The stars of our galaxy returned, indifferent, unaware that its last great hope had not died, but transformed, becoming one with something ancient, endless, and forever beyond the reach of human understanding. The Odyssey V was never seen again.